All right, we are live on both Facebook and YouTube. So appreciate you guys for coming. Cheers.
Prost.
Cheers.
Cheers. Hey guys, Matt here. We are back for the final steak battle of 2025 Discmania Challenge Week. This is season 7, episode 8, maybe even 9. I'm losing track.
8 of the week.
8, yeah, feels like it. We have Eagle McMahon for the first time and steak battle.
This is my first steak
Yeah,
battle.
first steak battle.
First official steak battle.
And veteran.
Fourth appearance.
Fourth appearance. So we always do Simon Sunday night. It's become a routine now, or a ritual, I guess. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the steak. So this is going to be steak 1, steak 2, steak 3, and steak 4. For you guys that aren't familiar with steak battles, we try out all 4 steaks. They all have different steak seasonings. And then at the end, we determine which is our favorite. So Eagle, I've been trying to get you on for a while. Ever since I found out that you started eating meat.
True.
We've actually kind of built this connection of steak and talking about food and whatnot.
Definitely.
But first time in Des Moines, what'd you think?
It was great. I really like Pickard. I felt like what makes Pickard really good is that I don't think there's a single bad hole out there. And a lot of courses we play on tour, you can kind of pinpoint like, oh, you know, maybe I don't like this hole because you got some Twizzlers. Very manicured. The staff does a great job, and the fans are great as well. It's just a good vibe in Iowa. And then it took me so long to get here, but I'm glad I finally did.
What was your favorite hole out there?
Favorite hole? Oh man, putting me on the spot. I wanted that I birdied hole 2 all 3 rounds, but I don't know. 17 and 18, they ate my lunch. I finished terribly on them every round, but I do think that they're really good holes coming down the stretch. They test you. They're fair. So I'd say 17 and 18.
Yeah, great. All right, so we've had steak 1. Let's go ahead and dive into steak 2 here.
After you.
Deal.
Got a fatty piece.
Herman, how'd you do this week?
Phenomenal.
I know, like in past, you've talked about like you never necessarily cared about like winning per se. Like that wasn't your number one importance. Obviously, you want to play well.
Yeah.
So, like, what does a successful tournament look like to you?
I think the most success is if you enjoyed it. And if you can have the most fun coming in 20th, I think that definitely is cooler than coming in second and being miserable. So for me, enjoying myself is definitely always more important than what my scorecard says. This week was a bit of a struggle on both ends. My scorecard did not shine, and my fun was also absent at times. The weather was pretty brutal this week.
That's what I was just about to say. It's really hard to have fun when it's so hot and
Yeah,
humid
I
and
think this
miserable.
was top 3 most challenging conditions for a little German boy like me.
And on paper, it was like the nicest event we had this year, but the humidity and heat gave it just a whole nother factor. I felt like I was playing rain rounds out there just because of my grip.
Yeah. Yeah, just wiping off sweat, or sometimes maybe you have too much grip. I don't know if that's an issue, but sometimes they just that. All right, so we've had steak 1 and steak 2. Let's go ahead and dive into steak 3 here.
So far, so good. We actually watched Matt cook up these tomahawks. What are those pound-wise?
So they're about 40 ounces each.
Wow.
With the bone on. So I should weigh the bone, see how much it weighs. My guess is the bone's probably 8 ounces or so, maybe 10 ounces.
Yeah, this is pretty impressive stuff. I'm
So,
still yet to find a steak that I like better than yours, by the way.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
So both of you guys are on MVP. And MVP's just like been blowing up over the last several years. I've definitely noticed in my shop, it is the most popular brand that we have. What do you think makes MVP so special? Why is it so popular?
I think MVP did a lot of things right early on to set the foundation for them to take off. Like, they have one of, if not the most diehard fan bases of anyone in disc golf, the Gyronauts. And I meet people who say, like, I've been a Gyronaut before it was cool, like way, way back in the day. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And then, of course, James hitting the shot just put everything in motion. Like, I'm sure Simon might not be at MVP, I might not be at MVP if James doesn't hit that shot. So it's like the stars kind of aligned, and I mean, they've done a ton of work as well. Brad and Chad are just like a dynamic duo. One's the business-orientated brother, and the other is CAD Chad, who like can design anything and build anything you want. So it's like, when you have that combo, it's just a total powerhouse.
What about for you, Simon? What do you think makes MVP so special?
Well, I think with any business out there, the only real way to success is having a good product. So I think they're winning on that, is that they have very good products, and they've made a couple good business decisions in the last 5 years. And I mean, Conrad's shot, of course. Sometimes you need a bit of luck to really get going and get that kick started to reach the wider masses, because they were kind of a niche company before that. And then they just made moves. Like I like to say, making waves.
Yeah.
Like they did.
Yeah.
And yeah, just the way they do things is just pretty on point. They don't really copy anyone else. They don't really collab with anyone else. They kind of do their thing. They like how they do it and how they want it, and they stick to their guns. And so far, you kind of just gotta say, good job.
Yeah,
Totally.
yeah, it's definitely working. So it's super popular. I mean, I noticed at my shop that it was definitely starting to gain some momentum before James shot, and obviously that kind of set it off. But yeah, the people that throw MVP absolutely love it. You know, you say
Totally.
the fans are super hardcore. All right, so we've had steak 1, 2, and 3. Let's go ahead and dive into steak 4 here.
All right, if we must.
That's a good piece.
So they just announced for the World Championship that they are going to do drug testing. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I think it makes a lot of sense, especially they're competing in a different country where a lot of the time regulations are a lot more strict. I know the Pro Tour is actually wanting to implement drug testing in future years for the overall legitimacy of the sport. If we have any hopes of ever getting into the Olympics and growing as a whole, it might be a painful step for a lot of people, but I think it's a necessary one as disc golf continues to grow.
Yeah, I was a little surprised that they announced it so like late in the year, I guess, like or so close to Worlds. You know, like it's Worlds is basically 30 days away. And you would think that this would have been something that, you know, was talked about or discussed at the
Right.
beginning of the year. So, you know, so some players might need to prepare for that or have a little bit more preparation. So, like, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens, or if, you know, people end up dropping out or whatever.
It's bound to produce some drama.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, all right. So we've had all 4 steaks. That was steak 1, steak 2, steak 3, steak 4. Simon's the veteran. We'll have him go first.
Okay.
Which were your guys? What was your favorite order?
My favorite was steak 4. My second favorite was steak 2. My third favorite was steak 3, steak 1. And my least favorite was steak number 3. But they were all still better than a steakhouse steak.
How about you?
I was really liking steak 1, but steak 4. Steak 4 just has like an extra
it.
charcoal flavor to it.
Yeah.
I definitely steak 1. That's like
4.
or steak 4.
Yeah.
I kept coming back to steak number 1. And then they're kind of a toss-up for me, but I gotta say 2 and 3. So almost the same ranking, Simon, but 2 and 3 were swapped for me.
All right, so steak 1 was I'd say the winner or AB's favorite last night.
Yeah.
This was the hardcore carnivore black seasoning. Definitely gives kind of that charcoal look or flavor on the outside. Steak 2, which was your guys' probably least favorite, or that was your second favorite.
This was least favorite, right? Yours too?
All right, so steak 2 was, I believe it was the ultimate steak and roast rub. Let me just double check. So steak 2 was the ultimate steak and roast rub, which is my personal favorite.
It's got a good salt level.
Yeah.
Steak 3 was Q39. So Q39 is a steakhouse in Kansas City that people seem to really like. And many times, this is the winner in a lot of steak battles.
It was lacking some pep, I found.
It's more salt heavy, I feel.
Yeah, you can definitely see the big chunks of salt in there. And then steak 4 was this Tuffy Stone big umami multi-purpose
Okay.
mix seasoning. This is actually one that I picked up at a local meat market here. I'd never heard of it. It's actually a meat market here close to Waukee, kind of by my house. But yeah, I really liked it.
Wow.
But yeah, so this was
Umami.
Steak Battle Season 7, Episode 8 or 9. I've lost track. I'm not going to have any more for a while. I'm going to be gone in Europe for the next basically 2 months, month and a half, Europe and China. And then I won't be back on tour until USDGC. So we won't have probably a steak night until then. But
I'll try to keep it alive.
do it. Well, the funny thing about steak night on tour is actually it kind of started with us.
Yeah.
So when I stayed with you guys at USDGC a couple years ago, that was kind of the first time we really had like everyone over for steak.
Yup.
And then Joey kept the very next term, I guess, at the Florida Open or whatever it was called, was like, hey, like, want to come over and grill out some steaks? And then that's kind of how we got started with steak night on tour, which is like become my favorite thing on tour. Like every time we all get together and just hog out, like
I feel
a
like
steak.
it's kind of like what the Pro Tour was missing a little bit, because there's so many cases where everyone has like different tea times and everyone has their own Airbnbs that you don't really see everybody, but it just brings so many people together. And it's like, I mean, you got Harry Chase doing disc golf Mad Libs, and you get to see people who aren't even really playing, because I mean, like Avery Jenkins and Nate Dosh show up, and so many other people. So it's like it's a really cool thing to happen just for social purposes.
Yeah. You just get all the players. Like you said, we're all hanging out. We're all just having a good time, eating steak. And it's, like I said, it's one of my favorite things, and happy to be a part of it. And you guys helped start that, so I appreciate that.
Shout out Joey,
Shout out Joey.
He's the
coordinator, and
Yeah, I just cook the meat. So
You do a good job.
all right, well, that's